Well, hello. We're here again, aren't we? And I am so happy to be here. Yeah, I really mean that. We're gonna have an interesting piece of wisdom, and let's get right to it. There's an interesting thing that was taught to me by a native gentleman. He talked about sorrow. Starts as a trickle, becomes a brook, from a brook to a stream, from a stream to a river, from a river to a rapids, from a rapids to a torrent, to a waterfall, back to calm. Sorrow has no numbers, no dates, no times of how long you will follow, be, overcome. I've lost somebody way back in my history. I'm 59 now. I was 20s then. Sometimes when I see snow, I still bawl. Why? Because I miss that was here. That's how this works. We miss something that was here. It doesn't matter what that something is. If there is sorrow involved and things are missed, and sorrow brings us back to joy, we may visit sorrow again. Wisdom for the day. Sorrow begins. It may take a lifetime. It may have moments of joy and things being amazing, and then something happens and you have more moments of sorrow. Just allow it to be. It's without a time limit. So let's do that thing. It's Eric at starthealing.me, Eric at starthealing.me, Eric at starthealing.me, real slow, Eric at starthealing.me. Okay, reach out, send me an email and ask for a link. I'll send you a link and you can make an appointment. You can chat with me. If we need to chat more, we'll figure it out. I'm just here to help, to guide, to encourage, to bring you to a place where you may feel better than you do now. That you may have an answer that you didn't have before. Just is what it is. Well, there are so many things in our life that we just require to move from one place to another with. And yet God will bear them all, you know. Bottles our tears, counts our hairs. That's a pretty amazing God. And that's what this is all about. That's what we're here for. Let's get to the story. Maybe a shorter video tonight. Who knows? We'll see where the story goes. Well, we learned about the seamstress. That was just an average story for the most part. Oh, she helped out some space whales, yes, and helped some other people have some clothing, yes. But it's just one member inside this city, living in sanctuary, rescued by the creator of all existence, and allowed to be because people allowed the space to exist. That's how this works. There's going to be moments where there's, of course, flashy space battles and things happen and things occur. And there's other moments where things don't go as planned and things happen and things occur. And this is maybe one of those stories. Maybe this will speak to someone. She didn't have a name. She just existed. That's what she had always done, just exist. And now she had lost somebody important to her, somebody that had been raised with her, even though they both had been punished, hurt, mangled, and somewhat destroyed. She had survived, the other had not. And she wished to do something to help her relieve her sorrow that she was in for the loss of this very dear person. She didn't know what to do, really. The lady had been watching her for a while. The lady came to her and said, "Let's go for a walk. You seem to require to talk." Oh, I do. Somewhat, maybe. Not much. I don't know what is. I just have always been, and then we are now just us. She said, "I understand. I've had my moments." I went walking and slowly walking out of the city, following the river that had continued to meander and eventually got to a place where there was some trees that were shading, and it looked like a nice place to sit, and that's what they did. They sat. And the lady just sat there listening. The one without a name that hasn't ever had one said, "I don't know where to do or how to do or what to do." The lady said nothing. "I'm just completely lost. This part was with me for a long time. We had survived so much, and then she did not. And I am here. Sometimes I wish I had not. And yet I am here. I'm trying to figure out my purpose now. Purpose was together. Now we are apart. We were like sisters, and now one is gone." The lady continued to listen, and she continued to talk, and she talked for hours. Finally, she fell asleep on the lady's shoulder, and the lady just ran her hands through the young one's hair. "It's okay. You'll get where you're going. You started today. Started to let go, and at the same time, you'll be letting go of the rest of your life. But you will feel joy again and sorrow again. Life is like that. But you have begun." She woke up and she apologized for falling asleep. And the lady said, "No, that's what you needed to do. Feel better?" "Yes, I do." She said, "I only have one skill." "What is that?" She said, "I'm good at peeling things. But I haven't asked the lady that makes all the nice food if she wants somebody to help her. I've never had to ask before. I've just been told." Well, I imagine she would. She has a lot of feeling to do. That's something you love. Oh, I love it. It's a meditation for me. Can we call you Peeler? No, I'm Lady because I'm Lady, and Prince is Prince, and Dragon is Dragon. It's kind of how we go around here. Not really titles and all that fluff, but this is sacred to you, is it not? Yes? Yeah, it is. Do you want to walk some more? Oh, I would. Yes, please. Let me show you something over here. And she went over to a fruit and she goes, "Do you have a peeler?" "Oh, I always have a peeler." That's just a thing I carry. Out it came and she said, "Peel that off and then have a taste." Well, all right. So she peeled it carefully and didn't take too much peeling off and had a taste. Ooh, that's sweet. Yeah, you have to get the peeling off because you can't get it. Ugh, the peeling's horrible. Wow. I'm useful. Yes, you are. Very much. We need a peeler, and you are a peeler. They walked a little farther and they gathered some more things and fun of being alive, isn't it? Better to come, honest. Or will it be? I don't know. I've always taught around every noise. Blip, 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 bing, 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 bang, bang, bang. I've always told stories around every noise. Kind of like the background of the city that they're sitting in sometimes, right? But right now they're out and they're hearing the brook and the stream and the river. This lady is healing, young lady. Finding your own, finding an important thing. Peeling. That's what she does. Peeler is her name now. Or her title. Doesn't really matter, does it? That's what she's doing. That's what she'll be doing. Then they walk for a little longer. And then they decide to head back to the city. They arrive at the city. It's been about a half a day. But Peeler is feeling much better. She goes with the lady, and the lady said, this one loves to peel things. Oh, awesome, with the cook. You are my answer to prayer. I do not like to peel. Oh, well, I love you. What do you require peeled? Well, those big carrots right over there. Oh yeah, I'll get at that. Okay, awesome. You brought me a peeler. What I was praying for. Yes, that's sometimes how it works. I have other people I have to walk with today, she said. There's people that are needing some support. It's my day to do that. She wandered off and she found a young man that was working very diligently with his hammer on a piece of metal, but it was going nowhere. She watched for another few minutes. She said, "Do you need to go for a break and a walk?" And he goes, "Oh, that would be nice. Metal's not moving today. Sometimes it moves, sometimes it doesn't. It has a mind of its own." Almost. Yes, it does, she said. Picks up the hammer and hammers for a minute, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that was roughly the shape I was after." Well, we'll let it be for a while. We'll cool it down carefully. That's what she did. And she said, "We put it aside. We can reheat it later. I'll even help you get it into more of a shape. But let's go for that walk." Okay. So off they went. Eventually, we're out of the city, and she said, "Do you know that stone over there? You hit it with a hammer, it creates an interesting shale, and if you melt that shale, it makes very interesting things, almost like ceramic, but not quite. More metal than ceramic. Keeps water colder for drinking longer." "Oh, this sounds right up my alley." He took out a hammer that happened to be hanging off his belt and whacked it. Oh my, it made a whole bunch. Yes, it's pretty fragile. Oops, I won't hit it so hard next time. No, you did perfect. That's awesome. That's just what had to happen to it. And he starts to cry. It was like me and not having anyone anymore. You know, great battle. And then nothing. Village gone. She said, "I know. Hard, isn't it?" Yeah, on my own. And he turned and he said, "How do you do it? You traveled multiple worlds, not got back to your own. Never get back to your own. Now exiled permanently. Got found exactly where I was supposed to be." True. But how do you do it? Well, I remember the good times. I focus on them, but I also allow the bad times to flow through and release and let go as well. Can we find a few more of those rocks? Because I like to make a set of dishes. Sure, let's do that. And I wandered around for a while and he ended up with four rocks in his bag full. And she said, "All you have is a normal bag, huh? No magic." No, I have magic, but I haven't ever made a bag. Um, well, let's do that now. She took another and whacked it with her stick, staff, cane, whatever you want to call it. Depends on the day, doesn't it? She laughed and she took the shell and she put it in a shallow part of the earth and she spoke words and a great fire started and it melted. And then she spoke in other words and it became like a fabric, but metal. And then she sat down on a rock and she said, "You can sit with me here. I'm going to sew for a bit." So you're not going to, nah, I like to do it handly. It'll take me about an hour. So just sit with me. He sat, he talked, she sewed. Eventually there was a bag. And she spoke over that bag and said, "Well, no, you ain't going to run out of room." He took the bag and put the stuff in and said, "Wow, there's still space in there. Oh, there's lots of space in there. And the more space you require, the more you'll get." Oh my. Who has ever given me such a gift? Well, you're a good blacksmith. I like the idea of the dishes. They gathered a few more things while they were out, and eventually they made a circle and back to the city. He thanked her for that, and they went back to the forge and they worked on his knife that was a commission. He needed to finish it so that he could get some things from the person he wished to get from. They worked on it together and got it to a place where it was a beautiful blade. He had done most of the work. She just helped him with temperatures and firing, and maybe an odd thwunk thwunk, because she liked that. And he had begun to work with the new material, and he was asked her nicely. He said, "So how do you get it to in cloth?" And she said, "That's a bit of magic, but I can teach you. Not today, of course. I have other things to do." And as those things occurred and happened, well, we'll have to leave it there for now. She's got a couple more stories to give you. Not today. Let's have a blessing. We have a blessing of just absolute joy. Joy is so amazing, so profound, overflowing like an ocean. Peace, unexplainable in the moments where peace is without usually existing, but there it is, existing. And hope, and abundance, and everything else that God wishes to wrap around that with his brush. According to his will and wish, according to your will and wish, this can be. Let's have a prayer. We come before you, Father, Spirit, Son, and we just lift up all the stories that are out there, all the stories yet to be told, all the stories that are starting to be told. And so we just come before you and we wish you to push the enemy back, give every time of every one of those stories time with someone that will listen, really hear, and just give what you wish to give for each one. We thank you for the courage and strength and grace and mercy. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Son. And so we say, Thankful, grateful, gratitude. Thankful, grateful, gratitude. Thankful, grateful, gratitude. Standing in awe and honor, respect. Allowing all glory to flow. Father, Spirit, Son. This is, and so this is. When you rest, rest well. When you wake, wake well. And know that your path is well lit by God. Blessings.